On the third day, there was a wedding in Cana in Galilee, and the mother of Jesus was there. Within Jewish mysticism is a practice called gematria, interpreting the meaning of scriptures based on numerical values. Guys like Abraham Abulafia assigned numerical value to each letter and added up the totals of words, cross-referencing them with other words and verses of the same numerical value. The sets of 72 triplets come from gematria as well. It's a very complex Kabbalistic idea I won't even attempt to capture here because it's that deep. Just understand, anytime you see numbers, there's a mystical aspect involved. It's a wonderful way to code messages. When it comes to the wedding at Cana, we can actually find the answer in Exodus. And the third month after the sons of Israel had gone out of the land of Egypt, on that very day they came into the wilderness of Sinai. Embody divinity's dance within. To stand at the foot of Sinai in the wilderness carries a very profound mystical meaning. It ties into the symbolism of the ancient mystery schools used to denote certain spiritual practices and meditations. So the number 3 is there to be a bridge that carries us over from the physical union into a mystical one. Along the pillar of balance, there are temples at each sphere of energy that relate to our inner being. Care to guess how many there are? Personally, my wilderness temple, roughly in the pit of my abdomen, has a lone tree that grows up from the base of my spine with the mountain range in the distance that forms this sort of double helix up to Tiferet, my Heart of the Rose temple. The spiral of mountains continues upwards to where the mountain range ends with the temple at the peak nestled in the clouds. This temple atop the mountain is where I received divine revelation from El Shaddai, Most High God, or Lord of the Mountain to the Canaanites, right? We're in the wilderness with the divine force drawing us upwards from the mountain. This is John's way of telling us that we're in the lower energy centers that are associated with the earthly planes, awaiting for our spirits to be awakened within us and called forward. Like he says, no one has ascended into heaven except the one who descended from heaven, the Son of Man. This brings us to the mother of Jesus being mentioned. Note he never calls her by name. Why? Is he not talking about his earthly mother, but rather Ruach HaKodesh, the divine feminine? That's speculative at best, but we do see her direct his steps all the same. 32 paths of wisdom, yada, yada, yada. The wedding of Cana being a biblical telling of the union of opposites via the husband and the wife. Cana being the place of reeds, which really needs its own episode, but it's a throwback to the older elements of the tradition found in Kemet. Aru to my fellow initiates. To the rest of you, all divine union happens within the heart of the rose, Tiferet. The heart is the seat of the soul, and ultimately what gets weighed by Mot upon ascent to the place of reeds, or Cana in Aramaic. Tiferet is definitely Yeshua in the gospel narrative, and the heart may plan its ways, but wisdom directs his steps. Proverbs 16:9, right? Tiferet internalizes Chokmah, maternal wisdom, and listens to Mom, right? This signifies that the Holy Spirit is present at the start of our spiritual journey because the beginning of all inner transformation is born from the knowing that God is within. However that looks to you was cool. Don't get caught up in the gender too much. When the wine ran out, the mother of Yeshua said to him, "They have no wine." And Yeshua said to her, "Woman, what does this have to do with me? My hour has not yet come." His mother looked at the servants and said, "Do whatever he tells you." Notice, Mom isn't asking. She's bringing up the fact that they're out of wine, and Yeshua tries to give her the "not my monkey, not my circus" line. She didn't even entertain his consideration. She turns straight to the servants and tells them, do whatever Yeshua tells them to do. The sun, which represents our conscious awareness, would take direction from the mother, divine wisdom within. The soul directs the steps of one with a listening heart. Yeshua's awareness isn't clouded by ego, so he's open to that flow state of divine wisdom and understanding. This didn't pass on to us because it got lost in translation, going from Aramaic to Koine Greek to Latin to English to this external idea that the 7 I am statements are 7 ways Yeshua says he is the divine being come to save humanity. But there is no I am in the Aramaic language. It's Ina Ina, or I, which means the great I am, the source of all awareness of being, is speaking through the little I of flesh and blood before you. Hence the title of Yeshua. Yahweh, the great I am, is salvation. The source of our awareness of being longs to just be with the waters of noon. That cosmic artisan that issued forth as God's delight by day is hovering over drunkards unable of seeing with their spiritual sight. So water to wine is a mystery because it carries all of this symbolism within the narrative. Water is spirit taking physical form. When we don't sense spirit within the flesh and blood or within the waters of our souls, we're sleeping in the darkness. We haven't been awakened to our spiritual connection yet. Water is our ever-present subconscious. So putting it in layman's terms, spirit is our objective consciousness, and flesh is the vehicle for water, our subjective subconscious, to manifest. The whole process that follows is a means of transforming our bodies into the living temples that we are meant to be because our souls come from the divine. His hour coming, meaning his great work is about to begin. Passion, death, resurrection, ascension. All of it stands as a means through which human beings can transform their understanding of what it means to be. The Christ saga, the God-man legend of old, is a living example of how one can overcome our experiences and step into divine grace and mercy. Next time, we'll talk about the God-man myth in a little bit more detail. Until then, keep breathing in light and living in love. Oh, Shlamalak, my friend. Auf Shukran.